Yo, most people think $1 million Bitcoin by 2028 is impossible, but not Arthur Hayes. The U.S. money supply is breaking out to new all-time highs, and Scott Bessent, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, just admitted that we're entering an easing cycle. Gold's hitting new all-time highs, and the dollar strength is at the lowest it's ever been since 1973, while Bitcoin's stuck at 113,000. Arthur Hayes has an interesting theory on where Bitcoin could be by 2028. Let's check out the clip, and then we shall talk about it.
My North Star is 2028, end of 2028, when Trump and his cronies leave office, that, in their wake, Bitcoin could be in the $1 million plus range because of all the money that they printed between now and the end of their term.
We're at the end of September. The end of the year is coming really soon, and we're not close to 250,000. What has to happen?
Come on, guys.
So I think that's what a lot of people are wondering. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, today we have Andre Loja in the house. He is the founder of Free Madeira and the organizer of one of my favorite Bitcoin conferences in the world in Madeira in Portugal, the Bitcoin Atlantis Conference. Andre, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, these price predictions are getting wild. You have the CEO of Coinbase basically calling for $1 million Bitcoin by 2030. You have Arthur Hayes, a pretty successful entrepreneur in the space. He's known for BitMEX. I know he's stepped away from that recently, but he's making the case that Larry Lepard and Lynn Alden are making with the whole, nothing stops this train, the big print. And Scott Bessent is admitting that, look, we're entering an easing cycle. And you see that with the Federal Reserve finally lowering rates. It wasn't by a lot. It was only 25 basis points, but at least it's kind of getting the party started, so to speak. But at the end of the day, man, we started this year at 109,000 the day that President Trump got inaugurated, January 20th of 2025. We are at 109,000. Then he announced his meme coin. Then we dumped like crazy. I think we went all the way down to 76K. Then we went to 125K. Now we're back at 113K. But if you just go from point A to point B, 109,000 to 113,000 in a span of 9 months. I mean, is Bitcoin becoming a stable coin? Andre, what's your take on this, my friend?
Well, not a stable coin, but Bitcoin does usually the opposite of whatever people are expecting. And I guess the suits, especially the suits, we're expecting for, and some overexcited players were expecting, Bitcoin to moon. I don't know. Bitcoin will do its own thing when it decides to do its own thing. I look only at long time frame. So for me, we're good. But it's obvious that it's gonna be way more valuable than it is today. When it decides to.
When it decides to finally rip. That's right. Anyway, so let's get into some of the source material of what we were talking about from the very beginning. So Bessent says we're going into an easing cycle and we will see a massive decrease in mortgage rates. Powell should have signaled 100 to 150 basis point cuts, not just 75 basis points cuts. We'll begin Fed candidate interviews next week, looking for someone with an open mind. So this is kind of like a continuation of the trend. A lot of people are saying that Trump, he has his eyes on, getting more influence with the Federal Reserve and just kind of getting his people in there that are aligned with his policy goals of making America great again. I know that Opti's not a big fan of that.
Huge fan of the rhetoric.
But anyways, let's look at the M2 money supply. This is what Arthur Hayes was talking about. They did kind of, lower for a little bit, but once again, we're at all-time highs, ladies and gentlemen. And I was actually watching a video of, who was the video that we were watching before we went on there?
Joe Burnett.
And he was talking about the association of the Bitcoin price with the overall money supply of the world and how directly correlated it is. And this is the M2 money supply. So this is basically the money.
Well, this is the US M2.
Yeah, the US M2. And it's hit
worldwide is even worse, no?
Yeah, worldwide's even worse.
Worldwide's even crazier, right? Absolutely. Andre is absolutely right. So, but as you could tell, you know, the US is supposed to be the most disciplined, so to speak. And I mean, this is absolutely crazy. And if you just go back to 2008, right? This is like when, you know, Satoshi invented or discovered Bitcoin, and you take a look at that, right? You know, he predicted this. You know, he predicted this. He said, like, look, chance on the brink of the second bailout for banks. This was the bailout, right? Which at that time, you know, quantitative easing was like, it was unheard of. Fast forward, you know, a decade, 15 years later, 15, 20 years later, and take a look at that, dude. They went crazy during the pandemic. Like, that is literally a hockey stick up. And then once again, you know, they're continuing to print money. And then also, too, a very like astute comment from James Lavish. James Lavish was basically making the case that because because Jerome Powell decided to lower interest rates by 25 basis points, they're admitting that 3% inflation is the new normal. They don't have any intention of trying to get it back to 2%. 3% is the new normal. It is what it is. And yeah, you know, it's kind of it's interesting. How do you protect yourself from this? Obviously through hard assets. I'm going to go through a lot of this other source material. Opti's going to narrate it because Opti's the in-house macro expert. But let's take a look at how gold is doing, because gold is performing amazingly as well. Opti.
Yeah. Zoom in here a little bit so I can read this. All right, guys. So connecting all the dots here. I know we're a Bitcoin show, and recently we have been covering the gold price. We're not necessarily gold maxis or gold bugs here, but I think what we're seeing from gold is a signal of what is going on. And this tweet perfectly sums it up. I don't know who this Robin Brooks guys is. It says senior fellow somewhere. And it goes, gold is now up a stunning 13% since Powell's dovish speech at Jackson Hole on August 22nd, about a month ago. This is happening even as the dollar is stable against other fiat currencies. So what's happening is an across the board debasement in fiat currencies against gold. Now, this is what I've been telling you guys for a while on the show. What we're seeing from gold hit all-time high right now is really showing you that there is something fundamentally going on in the economy. I've been calling it the monetary reordering. A lot of Bitcoiners have been saying something very similar. Whether they're Bitcoiners or not is showing us things are changing. So if gold, a hard currency, is going all-time high, it essentially means what this tweet is telling us. Everyone is noticing that fiat currencies are not a good store of value. So this chart very clearly is showing us that all fiat currencies are being debased against gold. Obviously, as the kind of memetics in Bitcoin go, is gold runs first and then Bitcoin runs even harder. And so if you kind of connect the dots from what Scott Besson is saying, he basically said we're going back to quantitative easing. It's what he said is, hey, we're going to print a lot of money. He basically just admitted that we're printing a lot of money. It's quantitative easing by another word. You know, he said the easing cycle is starting. And then if you connect this with the interest rates going lower, he was saying that Jay Powell should have dropped him by 100 to 150 basis points, which would be absolutely unheard of if they did that. Of course, Jay Powell just did a 25 basis points. So that's a 4 or 5x cut on interest rates, which is essentially showing everyone you cannot save in treasuries anymore. The risk off savings vehicle, which is treasuries, is no longer the good investment here. So again, connecting all of these dots, we're seeing the dollar strength get decimated right now. It's the lowest it's been since 73. We're seeing gold hit all-time high, which means people are dropping treasuries. And then we are starting to see that they want to even more so drop the interest rates. It's all pointing to one thing. And actually, will you pull up this Ray Dalio tweet, Nico? Because he also lays it out really clearly. This one right here. He's been beating this drum for a minute here. we're seeing now gold is the second largest reserve currency in the world. And this is why I have recently been talking about the US M2 supply a little more as a correlation to what's going to happen in Bitcoin, not necessarily because I don't like the global liquidity, but it's more in line to the US dollar is still the world reserve currency. So what we do with the M2, it has more of an effect on what goes on global liquidity. And then, of course, there's a lot of Bitcoiners in America. There's a big push in America towards Bitcoin right now. But if you understand what happened with fiat currencies and you kind of connect all these dots, gold's hitting all-time high again. Dollar strength is lower than ever. They're saying we're going to come back and print a ton of liquidity here in the US dollar. It's all pointing to one thing, that you need to have hard assets right now or go into hard currencies. And I think the market in gold is essentially telling us that people in the know are front running this event happening in real time. You can no longer save in dollars. You can no longer save in treasuries. And then we're also seeing interesting stuff come out of China. They're essentially talking about dropping treasuries, and then they're trying to themselves position China as being one of the world leader in gold, which is basically, you know, finally ending what happened in 1971. It seems like the world, at least on a nation state level, they are starting to move towards a gold standard because they're realizing there's fundamental problems in the plumbing of traditional finance. And so all of this is going to what I always say here. We've always said this on the show. All Bitcoiners say the same thing. All roads lead to Bitcoin. And as you see on the bottom here, he goes, if events today follow a similar pattern, then that makes hard currencies an attractive asset to hold. This is what you're seeing happen right now. And you could say that we are, you know, confirming our bias. Maybe we're cherry picking information, but the charts aren't lying here. If they're going to print a ton of money, if M2 is going up, not only just in the US, but globally, dollar strength is loosening, and then, of course, gold hitting all-time high, it's starting to show that people are looking for alternatives. And if you understand anything that's going on right now, is you need to have hard currencies. You need to own a hard asset. And of course, we think Bitcoin is the best asset to hold. And then with what we're seeing with Scott Bessent, him and Bessent, or rather the Trump administration and Powell, they've been having this fight right now. We know Powell is going to be out early 2026. They're talking about we're going to get some new Fed board governors in that, the interview process right now, which is essentially saying all the same thing. Even though Jay Powell has been saying, hey, we don't get political, they are trying to put the Fed under the control of the Treasury. And if they're able to do this, what's this mean, guys? It means the money printer is going to go into overdrive. It's going to get pressed so much that it's going to start burning. It's going to start fuming here. And if you're an average person and you're holding dollars or you're not holding assets, you're really going to get left behind. And it's honestly a little terrifying of what they are saying, because look, as much as we want to see Bitcoin go up, who knows what grocery prices are going to be? Who knows what rent's going to be? Who knows how high the inflation prices of everything are actually going to end up? It's starting to get very interesting. The monetary reordering is happening in real time. And remember, I've been listening to Mark Moss a little bit, and he's coined the term the Mar-a-Lago Accords. And they're literally doing the playbook exactly as they said. They want to lower the dollar strength. They want, basically decimate your purchasing power in the dollar, lower interest rates, and then, add stable coins in there so that they can continue to expand the money supply without people really feeling the pain. And it's all telling us the same thing, guys. The money printer is going crazy. This is why a lot of Bitcoiners have been saying, like, the money printing super cycle is upon us, which is going to drive Bitcoin absolutely to the moon here. So look, I know Arthur Hayes is following Uncle Rockstar here and saying ridiculous price predictions, but it's really starting to look like this is exactly what's happening. They're going to debase currencies, and all fiat currencies are being debased against gold, which is a signal that you can't be holding currencies. If you're holding currencies, fiat currencies right now, you're going to get absolutely wrecked. So this is why we constantly push towards Bitcoin. As we're seeing, as the headlines have been telling us, Bitcoin has fundamentally secured itself as the reserve currency of the internet. it is going to be a long path for us to get to the world reserve currency status, but it's headed towards that direction. So, hey, everything is happening as according to plan, guys. It's all happening exactly according to plan. Dude, they're gonna freaking destroy the M2 chart here. Like the 2020 number, I think that's what the next leg up is going to look like.
Speaking of M2, I mean, there is a little bit of a disconnect, right? Between I don't know why this. Oh, there we go. There is a little bit of a disconnect. I want to get your take on this. Something is soaking up a lot of liquidity. In other news, global M2 just went absolutely vertical, and BTC fair price is 250K. And then this kind of goes to the thesis that, again, what Joe Burnett was talking about this morning, what we've been talking about, that there is this kind of this correlation between the global M2 liquidity and the Bitcoin price. And as you could see, the correlation is very matched. And again, depending on who you talk to about this, like I know that Checkmate, he's not a big fan of this. And I know that there's other Bitcoiners that are not big fans of these types of charts, but there is some type of correlation if you take a look at that. But it seems like there has been a decorrelation really since the beginning of 2025. Now the question is are these things going to catch up? And if it does catch up, Zero Hedge is making the argument that, hey, look, this is $250,000 Bitcoin if it does keep up that correlation. And that's kind of like what a lot of people are expecting. They're expecting the Bitcoin price to be at roughly 200,000.
Well, that's saying that 250 today. The fair price of Bitcoin today should be around 250. So there is something going on in the markets that none of us can fully understand. I think it really has to do more with the meme of paper Bitcoin. Not necessarily saying there's more than 21 million Bitcoin. Nico thinks there is.
I want to ask Andre. Andre, is there paper Bitcoin shenanigans happening?
Is there more than 21 million Bitcoin?
I have no clue. I have no clue. However, and then you guys mentioned that already. There's usually a gap between the gold and even the M2 liquidity and the correlation with the Bitcoin price. So as I said in the beginning, it will eventually get there. If there's some shenanigans or whatever, I don't know. If they are in an hard asset on a transparent, blockchain like Bitcoin, some people can blow up really soon if that happens.
Yep.
And we may even see a correction, like other stuff that happened in the past in the history of Bitcoin. But it will explode afterwards. So, on a long time frame, it's obvious where things are going.
Yeah, I think.
But it's just a shame because a lot of people are going to be through very hard times. We can feel it, right? And that's why I believe, on the importance of education and adoption of Bitcoin, the hardest asset around. And it will get there. It will get even more crazy than the gold price has been getting this year, because that obviously has very big macro players, putting their finger on it. But yeah, it'll explode eventually.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I do want to give a shout out to the live stream. Almost 400 people watching live on YouTube, almost 100 people watching live on Rumble. And of course, the X audience always coming in strong. If you guys are enjoying the live stream on YouTube, help us break 100 likes before we get to the 30-minute mark of the show. We got 10 minutes until that time. So smash that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Really helps push this show forward. It helps it push it in the algos. So smash the like button if you guys are enjoying it. And I'm going to drop a poll in the chat.
While you do that, I do want to talk about that Zero Hedge tweet. The question is, there is extra liquidity in the system. Where is it going? And what is soaking it up? Obviously, I think a lot of it is going into gold, as we're seeing. Gold is running up. It's at all-time highs. It's at levels we've never seen before. It's, I think, what I didn't check it this morning, but it's like 3,700 right now per ounce of gold, which is absolutely unheard of. In regards to Bitcoin, what is soaking up that liquidity? as I was talking about like paper Bitcoin, I don't think there's a small chance that there is paper Bitcoin in the sense of more than 21 million Bitcoin on exchanges, etc. I think what is soaking up the demand for Bitcoin right now is the ETFs and the treasury companies. And so we still, depending on who you're listening to, there's still a lot of debate whether they're actually buying all the Bitcoin they claim they're buying. But I think that's where the demand is going right now. That's where the hype has been. And until we see a lot of people buying spot Bitcoin and the price starts moving, it does look like the ETFs are soaking up a lot of that demand right now. And it's still, I would say, unclear whether that is going straight into spot Bitcoin yet, or if there's some kind of shenanigans going on over there. So that's, I think, where the difference is in liquidity. Yes, global liquidity is going up. Yes, the M2 US liquidity is going up. I think gold is eating up a lot of that demand right now, but it's kind of one of those ideas where you essentially take the first step into something that's more familiar, which is gold. And then the next move is you start to realize that gold doesn't actually fix this. It just kind of recreates where we've been this whole time. And then they take that next leap and it goes into Bitcoin. So as Andre was saying, there is a delay here. Who knows how long this delay is going to hold on to for how many more days? Who knows what the delay is actually going to be? 100 days, 30 days. I know a lot of people have been saying 30 to 90 days. So I think that's where all the demand is going. It's either going into gold or to ETFs. But once it hits spot Bitcoin on chain, and once we get the feedback loop from retail coming in, I think it's ripping, man. Nico, I might have to say it now. 2026 is not a bear market.
Ooh, okay. That is inflammatory. I want to get Andre's take on that. Andre, do you think we're going to have an extended cycle? I'm not
a chart guy. Of course, the cycles of Bitcoin, in hindsight, were obvious. But I'm on the band that the cycles are going to diminish or entirely disappear because the demand and the demand and the I guess the knowledge about what Bitcoin is very, very different now, and the numbers are very, very different. Like the mined Bitcoin doesn't make a dent anymore. So
yep.
I'm on the band that cycles are going to disappear, and we're going to be steady up ad infinitum, and that's where we're going. Also, I believe that just an hunch. Of course, I don't know. I think there must be a lot of people, and by people I mean not only individuals, but wealthy individuals and businesses and even nations buying secretly.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
100%. I 100% agree with that. I mean, you have the Kingdom of Bhutan. 1/3 of their GDP is in Bitcoin. Like, that is effing crazy. This tiny little Himalayan kingdom, happiest place on earth, and they're I can't say it. There's something deep into Bitcoin. They have no shame. They're just buying all the Bitcoin they can, which is absolutely fantastic. And I think that there is a lot of other countries, specifically some Middle Eastern countries that have been buying Bitcoin secretly. And apparently, the US has the intention. But according to this latest article, Freedom of Information Act request, there actually hasn't been any movement on the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Could this be a part of the reason as to why Bo Hines resigned? I don't know. We're going to be talking about that later. But I do want to focus on this article from Forbes because it kind of takes a contrarian approach. And I want Opti to debunk it because Opti is the in-house bullish. I mean, it's in his name.
Dude, I don't even like this title. Bitcoin is digital exit gold. What's this mean? They don't even know what that means.
Opti is the in-house,
All right, here, Nico, you want me to debunk this article without reading it? Go to the first sentence. First sentence. Wait. Well, yeah. First sentence. Bitcoin hasn't really gone anywhere since I bailed at 100K. Okay. End of article. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
So Opti actually has a second job, and he's a writer for Forbes.
No, I thought this was Billy Bambaugh, but Billy Bambaugh.
No, Billy Bambaugh wouldn't let us down like
I know
this,
Billy
bro.
would not sell at 100K.
Billy Bambaugh would never sell, bro. Billy Bambaugh is going to the moon. But anyways, I want to read this article for the sake of just argument.
Dude, it's trash. The first sentence, it's over.
Okay, Opti, we have to read the contrarian takes, bro. Okay. So anyways, Bitcoin hasn't really gone anywhere since I bailed at 100K. Hashtag wrecked.
Hashtag your opinion doesn't count.
Not in line with expectations of 250K or $1 million that the fan base has been calling for. My caveman prediction for a very long time ago, ever since the last crypto winter, has been previous high 60,000 equals 60,000 times 2 equals 120K new peak. It's too simplistic.
Wait.
I know.
That's not even right. The halving, like
60,000 multiplied by having. I don't even know. But he did say it was caveman math.
Dude, all right.
I'm reading this for the sake of reading this, Opti. It's on Forbes. This is a legitimate media institution, bro. Okay. It says it's too simplistic. I know. We all need a clever story of heroes and villains. But here we are and have been over an extended period. To me, something material has to happen to break this 4-year cycle, 4-year doubling cycle. And it's not plugging into the nervous system of TradFi.
I see what he's doing. I see where his math
and
comes
famous
from.
for its blood-sucking, rule-breaking predation on assets. Sorry, Wall Street, but your rap sheet is epic. Now I've been on the receiving end of a bit of a stick over the past many months for not being bullish on crypto, and have been the bad guy on quite a few X spaces saying this is the top. While crypto denizens have been singing the seductive moon song of Bitcoin infinity, yet here we still are between 100K and 120K. So what's next? To me, the current Bitcoin chart is not weak. It's actually quite strong. But my call that around 120K marks the top before the next crypto remains my position. In my model, global tension is keeping Bitcoin afloat because Bitcoin is for flight while gold is for war. Think of it in meme terms. Bitcoin is digital exit gold, while the possibility that many wealthy individuals might choose to exit their regimes in the future exists. Bitcoin's flight use case will be a strong tailwind for the price. Every moment of nerves for the many fragile regimes in this stressed out world will goose Bitcoin while their future looks perilous. However, rather than speculate about where crypto is now, let's examine what different groups in the market will do and how that might impact the future. Anyways,
just get to the conclusion. Let's see what he concludes here.
Okay. He puts in a meme and everything.
All right, he won.
That joke I gave you in 2010. Can I have it back? That was his conclusion, Opti.
No.
Anyways. Think of all the new players in crypto now. Government, Wall Street, TradFi converts, and Johnny come late lies, plus corporation treasury reserve FOMOers, not to mention hackers with record-breaking heights.
All right, I see. This is what he says. Okay. Crypto is about blockchain. Okay.
Crypto's about blockchain.
All right, we're done. We're done with this. We're done with this. This is trash. This is trash.
So I can just assess that you disagree with this.
I mean, so I wholeheartly disagree.
120K.
120K
is not the top.
I mean, it was so far. He's not wrong there. So, but that whole article is trash. Like he basically makes a case. Glenn Chambers is not going to make it. He basically said he said basically blockchain, not Bitcoin, and 120K top. Dude, he sounds like my buddy that DMs me all the time telling me 120K was the top. And I'm like, no, okay. No, I disagree. I'm doubling down on what Uncle Rockstar told me. You got to make sure your price predictions are so ridiculous that they think you're crazy. 120K is not the top.
Plus, there won't be a crypto winter, as this guy is mentioning.
Yeah, exactly. 4-year cycle is dead. 120K is just the beginning. You heard it here first.
People are saying that there is going to be no crypto winter. I did ask the chat, by the way, where do you think the Bitcoin will be by year's end? 46% said 150K, 15% said 200K, 25% said 250K. So let us know in the poll. Let us know in the poll.
Oh, year's end.
Yeah.
Where's 1 million?
I mean, if you would have asked me in the beginning of the year, I would have put 1 million. But a lot of people feel very strongly that 120K is not the top. We got Jake Fever says 182K is the local top, then dip down to 125K, back up to 250K. CS says research the history of empires, currency collapses, and new global currencies, and we'll see what?
Million by this year.
Okay, that's what we'll see. Now CS also says yes, suppressing the price of gold is how they multiplied their suppressing. It's the same as altcoiners. It's just on 100-year cycle instead of 4. To B says I don't like the Bears. Bitstack says end tin foil hat rent. And
we'll do this one. Let's keep it moving.
Matthew J. 2026 is going to be up. This time is different. Laughing emoji. So anyways, guys, it's going to be a fantastic show. We still have tons to talk about. We got Andre Loja in the house, the Free Madeira founder and the organizer of the Bitcoin Atlantis Conference. We're going to be talking about all the things that he's been talking about. I love the island of Madeira. It's where my favorite footballer is from, Cristiano Ronaldo. He played for Real Madrid, which is my favorite football team of all time. I actually just saw a Madrid game for the first time in person. I was in Madrid like a couple weeks ago. That was pretty cool. Nice. But Cristiano's not there anymore. He's in Saudi Arabia. Anyways, I digress. We're going to be talking about Madeira. I love Madeira. Madeira has taken a very pro-Bitcoin stance. It's like this Bitcoin citadel island in the middle of the Atlantic. It's pretty badass. And Andre's been a very instrumental part of that. He's a local. He knows all the right people. So we're going to be talking about all his initiatives and all the things that he's been working on during the numbers segment. So we're really excited about that. Then during the news, you guys are gonna want to stick around because we have this new article from The Rage. I love that publication name.
Shouts out Lola Leaks.
New FOIA response reveals no progress on strategic Bitcoin reserve. That's right. Apparently, there is no strategic Bitcoin reserve that's coming. Someone in the chat says 400K by November 8th. Remember, you heard it here first. People dropping crazy predictions.
Dude, 400K in what, 2 weeks? Let's go. That's my kind of prediction there, bro.
And we have Opti's ex-girlfriend, Christine Lagarde, continuing to talk about central bank digital currency. So we're always on top of that. Anyways, guys, it's going to be a fantastic show. You guys are going to want to stay tuned in. But before we get into the number segment, I do want to give a very special shout out to Simply Bitcoin's lead sponsor, by far the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack, bitcoinwell.com. The reason we recommend bitcoinwell.com here at Simply Bitcoin is because it's automatic self-custody. That means that when you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, as soon as the funds clear, it goes straight to your self-custody Bitcoin wallet address. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/simply today. Buy real Bitcoin and start enabling your independence with the fastest and safest way to buy Bitcoin on-chain via Lightning Network in Canada or the USA. Go to bitcoinwell.com/simply today. If you're a higher net worth individual looking to buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin or more, and you want a white glove service designed to help you buy Bitcoin directly to self-custody, you have to go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. Tell them that Simply Bitcoin sent you. You're in very good hands. All right, everybody, let's start the show. Let's hit the numbers. We have tons to talk about. We're going to be right back in just a bit. I want to give a shout out to our partner, Stampseed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates. Instead of just writing them down on paper, paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on Stampseed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store. All right, everybody, we are back. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $113,900. Sats per dollar, 878. Block height, 916,210. Realized monetary inflation, 0.85%. Market cap, 2.27 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 8.52%. Percentage issued, 94.88%. So almost the total Bitcoin supply has been issued. Anyways, I do want to talk about Madeira, a beautiful, beautiful island in the Atlantic. It's Portuguese. Lots of Venezuelans there, actually. I learned that when I visited. Very cool, very cool. Lots of Venezuelans in Madeira. But anyways, the reason I want to talk about it is just the sovereign individual thesis. You guys know that I love this thesis, love this theory. It's very popular among the Bitcoin circles. And the thesis is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. And it, again, you with Bitcoin in self-custody, you have the power to not only vote with your wallet, but you also have the power to vote with your feet. And you obviously want to go towards jurisdictions that are friendly towards Bitcoiners, right? You don't want to be in a jurisdiction that is unfriendly towards Bitcoiners, because that would kind of suck, right? So Madeira is one of those places that is not only absolutely beautiful, but it is a very, very friendly place as a Bitcoiner. And if you want to start a Bitcoin business, it's a very, very cool island to go. And the man responsible for, a lot of that is on the stream right now. His name is Andre Loja, and he's done an incredible job with not only the Bitcoin Atlantis conference, which, by the way, it's like the World Cup. Someone asked, Nico, did you go to the sauna in Finland? I did go to the sauna, and I did a cold plunge and the sauna in Finland. So that was pretty cool. But anyways, so not only so Bitcoin Atlantis conference, one of my favorite conferences. It's every 4 years, right? Which I'm gonna keep the thoughts to myself, but it's nice. It's nice, because it's kind of like the World Cup. It builds an anticipation, It's like, if the World Cup was every year,
I heard that it's good to keep people waiting.
Yeah. You guys have to check out Free Madeira. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about Andre's different projects, what he's working on this beautiful island. So first, you guys have to go to freemadeira.org, a Bitcoin community in the Atlantic. Free Madeira is a nonprofit organization focused on education, community building, and supporting Bitcoin adoption during the transition to a new monetary paradigm. So the floor is yours. By the way, look at that. Bitcoin Atlantis 2028, baby. 2028.
You're against Bitcoin.
So it is returning Bitcoin Atlantis 2028. You guys have to go. But anyways, the floor is yours, Andre. What is Free Madeira? What inspired you to start this initiative on this beautiful island? I'm gonna show some pictures while you're talking.
Well, Free Madeira is a Bitcoin circular economy and also an education project. So it's a non-profit association. That's the way we put it, a non-profit organization. With the sole focus to teach and help people transition, as you mentioned on our website. We started 2 years ago. We're doing a lot of work on education and also the community base, of course. But it goes from workshops that we do very often during the year, not only for individuals and businesses. We launched now in September a 10-week course based on the Bitcoin diploma. Let me show you. So shout out to my first Bitcoin project in El Salvador. So we translated the diploma to Portuguese and we're launching the course. Actually, we launched already the course. We have over 60 students enrolled. And we're also we're in talks with the Secretary of Education to put it on all of the students' tablets all over Madeira and Porto Santo, the smaller island. We also do the meetups. We do many other, local stuff to increase the community and the awareness about Bitcoin and the adoption of Bitcoin. That's our main focus. Also, merchant adoption is going through the roof. We have over 150 merchants that accept Bitcoin all over the island, especially in Funchal, the main city. And there's a lot of Bitcoiners living on a Bitcoin standard in Madeira, which is amazing. They don't touch fiat at all. And this, because of all this work, and there's other goals still in plans, like on the mining and energy. We're doing some tests with the local energy producers. And also the main goal is to do a physical hub in Funchal. We'll get there. A physical hub for the community. And that was why you were mentioning the 4-year conference, that we didn't want to do it every year because, we're a small organization. If we were focused on such a big conference every year, we would only be conference organizers. So we had the idea to do it every 4 years, keep it more like a big party, a big festivity for Bitcoiners to flock to Madeira every halving here. And that way, in the meantime, we can focus on all the other Free Madeira work that we're doing. That's the main goal. You're showing Bitcoin Atlantis. Bitcoin Atlantis was amazing. We had the idea to do a conference when we launched Free Madeira. Basically to put a flag in the ground. We arrived. Let's start all this work and let's do a conference to put the eyes on Free Madeira. But it kind of blew up, and it turned out to be a very big conference. You were here. It was amazing. We had a stadium for ourselves. We had 200 speakers from all over the world. All the big names in the Bitcoin space were here. There were a lot of satellite events as well, even a music festival. So it was a week that I won't forget, and I think a lot of people have the same feeling. Everybody that I speak to that came felt the energy, felt how special it was. And yeah, we'll keep it special for the next 3 years at least. We'll do a next surprise on the next one.
It's like the World Cup, man. It's like the World Cup. It's every 4 years. It builds the anticipation. Anyways, also you're also working on a fund, Andre. So could you talk a little bit about that as well?
Before the fund, let me mention something. You started with the sovereign individual.
Yes.
We are almost launching the sovereign individual in Portuguese for the first time in all Portuguese-speaking countries. It was never translated to Portuguese. So through Monteiro Books, which is an initiative that is basically a sister to Free Madeira, where we translate the best Bitcoin and freedom-oriented books into Portuguese, we're finally launching the sovereign individual in Portuguese in Portugal, Brazil, Angola, and Mozambique. So just
That's
a side
awesome.
note.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Someone in the chat says that the Madeira airport is one of the sketchiest in the world. First of all, it's not called the Madeira. Wait, I have to share this. It's not called the Madeira Airport. It's called the Cristiano Ronaldo Airport.
Yeah.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Let's
It
go.
is. It is.
So when you land, you have to say or the border patrol will kick you out. No, but it's super badass, man. It's like put on stilts.
Man, the orography of Madeira is hard, so they had to put the runway next to the sea. And I think it was inaugurated in the year 2000. They extended the runway. It was a big engineer. You can see the columns in the picture. And man, there was an accident in the airport many years ago when it was quite small. And it was actually human error. The guy slipped. I don't know exactly the story, but since then there was no issues at all. So it's not really sketchy. It's a bit of wind here and there, but it's all good.
So Andre, let's talk about your fun, man. This is a really badass airport.
Yes.
Look at that. Super
it's really
badass.
cool, actually. Yeah.
So let's talk about your fun, man. What's going on with that?
It's called how Bitcoiners are.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The Basalto Fund. Yeah. Basalto is by the way, it's the hard rock where Madeira sits on. So we found it appropriate as a name for the new fund. And you know how Bitcoiners are, and I'm a doer, man. I do a lot of stuff. I have fiat businesses as well. I'm involved in Faraday and Nostr and many other ventures. And you always you keep thinking on what else can you contribute. And there was a lot of Bitcoiners interested in Plan B, citizenship options, and so forth. And Portugal has a golden visa program since many years ago, but nowadays it's only available through investment funds. But looking around, all the investment funds available are fiat-based businesses, right? Fiat-based options, which don't look attractive at all for Bitcoiners. So I wanted to create a better option. And so we did. After a lot of work on compliance and regulatory issues and so on, we were able to create an investment fund that invests. The investment proposition is really simple. We invest a minimum of 80% on spot Bitcoin directly, and up to 20% we reinvest on the Bitcoin ecosystem through a partnership with EgoDev Capital. So Nico and Andy, and they're supported with Jeff Booth, Lynn Alden, Preston Pish, everybody knows them. We believe on what they're doing, we believe on their work, so we wanted to contribute. And also, because the fund is 8 years, we believe that it's going to be very profitable as well. And I mean Sats flow positive, because the idea is, again, to have a much better options for Bitcoiners to park their investment while they are eligible for the golden visa, and don't lose exposure to Bitcoin. And by the end of the 8 years, we can give them more sats back than they invested in the beginning. That's the whole goal.
Absolutely. If people want to find out more about it, Andre, where can they go?
So unfortunately, our website is down currently because fiat bullshit. Sorry for my English. Our hosting had some issues, so we're changing providers. But it's going to be maybe a couple or a few days. It's going to be online again, and you can find us at basalto.fund. Also, you can find us. If you follow Free Madeira, you'll find us easily. Especially myself on Twitter, for example. I repost a lot of the Basalto stuff when we have socials there. We have Basalto on Twitter, we have Basalto on LinkedIn, we have Basalto on Nostr even. So it's very easy to find us. Just drop us an email, a DM, and I'll get to you.
Fantastic. I want to thank Andre for coming on today's show. Andre Loja, he's the founder again of freemadera.org, the organizer of the Bitcoin Atlantis conference. The next one's happening in 2028. And again, if you want to find out more about the Bolsalto or Salto Bozalto. I gotta practice my Portuguese. I speak Spanish. I was just in Rio.
You need to pop over to Madeira more often, man.
I was just in Rio like 2 Sundays ago, drinking picañas. No, not drinking picañas, eating picaña and drinking caipirinhas. Boom.
Nice.
Boom. I pronounced those correctly. Anyways, Andre, thank you so much for joining us on today's show, bro. Keep kicking ass. I love Bitcoiners that are building, and I think what you're doing in MADEIRA is super cool. We have so many people in the chat saying they want to visit. People are saying they're going to take a boat because they're scared of the airport. Yeah, it's pretty far in the Atlantic, guys. Just take a plane.
Yes.
Anyways, so Andre, thank you so much for joining us on today's show. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for the invite, man.
Take it easy, man. All right, everybody, it's going to be a great show. We still got tons to cover. We're going to be talking about the FOIA request that essentially unveiled that the U.S. government has not been buying Bitcoin. They have no intention of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And also, this kind of lines up with the fact that Bo Hines, our boy Bo Hines. Look at what they did to our boy. Pull up that meme.
Look at what they did to my boy.
Look at what they did to my boy. The Godfather meme. Bo Hines, he resigned from the government. And like a lot of people were speculating, and then Scott Bessent went on TV and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna acquire gold, but we're not gonna acquire Bitcoin." So it seems like Lola Leitz did some great investigative journalism, and she filed a Freedom of Information Act. She got some information. Look at how they massacred my boy, right? And it seems like she discovered some information. So anyways, guys, we're gonna be right back. We're gonna hit the news segment, and we're gonna talk about all that and much more. So stay tuned. I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. All right, everybody, we are back, and we're going to do a deep dive and analysis of this article by The Rage. This is Lola Leitz. She's been doing great just coverage on the Tornado Cash case.
Great uncredentialed journalism.
Samurai Wallet. I mean, I trust independent journalism more than credentialed journalism.
Yeah, credentialed journalism's trash.
So what are we going to talk about? A new FOIA response reveals no progress on strategic reserve. It goes on to say, on March 6, President Trump tasked federal agencies to review their authorities to transfer any assets held to the digital assets stockpile. The reports on these authorities were due to be delivered to the Treasury for review 30 days after the publication of Trump's executive order corresponding to April 5th, 2025. Naturally, we filed a Freedom of Information request with the Treasury to obtain the results of said reports, except that the Treasury doesn't have them. In response to our request, the Treasury, could we pull up like a guilty picture of Scott Bessent?
Dude, of Trump. What are you talking about?
Scott Bessent. In response to our request, the Treasury instead directed us to contact agencies with seizure and forfeiture authority directly, including the IRS criminal investigation, Homeland Security investigations, as well as the U.S. Secret Service. It goes on to say, after careful review of your request and consultation with the IRS, I have routed your request to IRS for processing to direct. Oh, that's a good one. Where's the Bitcoin? Where's the Bitcoin? I don't know. I don't know where the Bitcoin is. After careful, we'll pull it up. Okay, let's have Scott in the corner. There we go. Perfect.
He's our guest today.
We're big fans of Scott, by the way.
Nico is.
I'm a big fan of Scott. Big fan of Trump. I think they're doing great. It's a great administration. Opti is not. Opti,
dude, I'm gonna hold my piece to my part. Keep going.
Opti, Opti wants Biden back. That's what you said to me this morning.
Yeah, Hunter Biden.
After careful review of your requests and consultation with IRS, I have routed your request to IRS for processing and direct response to you. Further inquiries concerning your request should be directed to IRS at Internal Revenue Service, GLDS Support Services, Stop 211 PO Box 621506. I mean, I feel like that's never going to be answered. Please note that the IRS will assign your request a new FOIA case number and will notify you of the change. After consulting with subject matter experts, I was advised that you may want to consider submitting requests. What the F does that to the various? They have it. That's a typo. There's a typo in there.
Apparently,
that's not a good sign. The various federal agencies, IRS, CI, Homeland, HSI, and USSSS, with seizing and forfeiture authority. There's another typo. That's not a good sign at all, dude. Oh man, our FOIA's on the report on total assets held by federal agencies, which were also due to be reported to the Treasury by April 5th, 2025, remain pending. Remember, in the beginning of the year, there was an executive order by the Trump administration, which Opti does not like, and
no, I like the exact. Keep going.
And part of the executive order was that the federal government was going. Is that thunder?
Yeah,
that was loud. Was to report that it was to report how much Bitcoin the federal government had, and that report was due April 5th, 2025. Right. We haven't seen it yet. We don't know how much Bitcoin they hold. We have no effing clue. We have an estimation. We know that the Biden administration was selling Bitcoin. We know that. We've discovered that. But we don't know how much Bitcoin the federal government has. The only thing we know is that they're not going to sell more. But we don't know how much they have. Anyways, our Freedom of Information Act on the reports on total assets held by federal agencies, which were also due to be reported to the Treasury by April 5th, 2025, remain pending. Earlier this year, we revealed that the U.S. Marshal Service, the agency which manages the U.S. government's forfeiture program, only holds around 30,000 Bitcoin, far off from the widely advertised 200,000 Bitcoin estimated to be property of the U.S. government. So where is it at, dude? That's crazy. It's a lot of Bitcoin missing. It should be noted that such discrepancy in numbers is likely due to the fact that current BTC trackers do not differentiate between seized funds, which may eventually be given back to victims, and forfeited funds, which may have been made property of the U.S. government, and not like Senator Lummis falsely speculated in response to our reporting because the government was selling its Bitcoin. I mean, I love Senator Lummis. Anyways, all in all, does that say falsely speculated? Oh, God. All in all, it should be questionable how seriously the Trump administration is taking the establishment of a strategic reserve when not even simple tasks like reports on asset holdings and authorities seem to be complied with. If you were a single issue voter, which I was, it may be about time to demand some accountability from your government. Wow. Low elites absolutely slaying. So here's what I think happened, in my humble opinion. Okay, just putting the pieces together. Should we keep Scott up? Should we make him? Let's keep him up like that. Let's make us full screen. They appreciate the $10. Appreciate the super chat. To help Nico get hooked on phonics. What is that? I don't get the joke.
Help you to learn to read.
Oh, that's never gonna happen. But my mom's been trying that for decades. It's never worked. Somehow still ended up here. Anyhow, okay. So back to the subject matter. This is what I think happened. I think last year the Biden administration was very hostile towards the industry. I think the Biden administration was selling Bitcoin and they were not reporting that they were selling Bitcoin. I think they were doing that all of last year. I think that's been confirmed now, by the way. I think they were hostile towards the industry. There was many different moves that they did with Operation Choke Point 2.0 to try to stop it. Then Trump came in and he had to build one of the strongest coalitions in American electoral history, which included former Democrats like RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. And he wanted to get some of the Bitcoiners' votes. We are a very large voting bloc in the United States, especially the younger generations that own Bitcoin and crypto. And he identified that correctly so as a very powerful voting bloc and donor base. And that's exactly what happened. So he promised that new group of voters that, hey, I'll end Operation Choke Point 2.0. But he also promised that voter base that they were going to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, here's the thing. When Trump issued that executive order in the beginning of the year, there was a lot of pushback from the other cryptos, which are run by foundations and founders, and they wanted reserves themselves. So what Trump did, I think he threaded the needle. He created a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and then he created the altcoin stockpiles, so to speak. And that was that. But I think that once they started discovering how much Bitcoin was sold, again, this is pure speculation, but we do have a track record of being tomorrow's Bitcoin news today, and we do have a track record of being more right than we are wrong on things. I think that once they started discovering how much Bitcoin was sold, remember, guys, like a lot of that Bitcoin, that 200,000 Bitcoin, it actually belonged to Bitfinex, because Bitfinex had this massive hack. Could you look up how much Bitcoin was hacked? Cope. Opti hates like
No,
it.
no. I'll let you talk about you.
Okay.
And I'll talk about
So Bitfinex hack, how much Bitcoin was it?
I spelled it wrong. Wow. 119,756 Bitcoin.
So 119,000 Bitcoin. That all of that Bitcoin was recovered. The thing is, it hasn't been given back yet. But during the previous administration that was arresting crypto founders left and right, like CZ and Arthur Hayes has been pardoned. A lot of them have been pardoned by the Trump administration. Like, what do you do? Because again, like if you recover Bitcoin from a theft, you're supposed to give that Bitcoin back to the party that was affected by the theft. You're not supposed to just keep the Bitcoin. Like, that's not how that works, right? Because what is that? Then what was the point of them recovering the Bitcoin in the first place if you're not going to give it back to the affected party who was the victim of the crime, right? But then what happens when you're like, dude, like, we sold that Bitcoin, we don't have that Bitcoin to sell, and then it was like, was it ever their Bitcoin? And like, it wasn't even their Bitcoin to. It says Phil Faulkner says, I think 67,000 BTC was recovered. But the point I'm trying to make is that only 30,000 Bitcoin of the estimated 200,000 Bitcoin has been able to be found. We don't know.
Well, identified.
We don't
reported.
know. We don't know where the 170,000 Bitcoin are. On April 5th, we were supposed to find. Elaine, Nico, keep your eyes off the chat for your own good. It's happy face. On April 5th, we were supposed to find out how much Bitcoin they had, according to the executive order. They haven't made that public. And then you connect that with Bo Hines' resignation. Bo Hines was like our man on the inside. He was a young guy, very smart, and he was like hell bent on making this strategic Bitcoin reserve like a thing, right? But I mean, we saw a video of Senator Lummis, which I'm a big fan of. We're big fans of Senator Lummis here at Simply Bitcoin. And she was talking about how the Trump administration supports the United States buying 1 million Bitcoin. But the thing is, they're not going to be able to do that without the support of Congress. Congress, they don't have a supermajority. They don't have the 60 votes. So it's not veto proof. Or it's not filibuster proof, better said. So, like, again, you can acquire Bitcoin in a budget neutral way, but you had Scott Bessent go on Legacy Media the other day, and he kind of walked it back after a while when he got a lot of when he got tapped on the show. He got a phone call and he walked it back. But initially he said, yeah, we're going to just like buy gold and we're going to stick to gold and just like that. So this is why Opti doesn't like the current administration.
Can I go? Let me speak for myself. Okay. All right. Look, Nico, being less cynical, being a little more benevolent here, I do agree with your take on what happened. It does seem like the Biden administration probably sold a lot of that Bitcoin, which really would probably account for why the price has been so stagnant, because we don't know where 170,000 coins are. They keep saying they hold all of that. We have no clue what's going on. So speculating on what actually happened with that Bitcoin, if it did get sold, then a huge chunk was sold on the market. And I'm guessing that when Trump kind of came out and was talking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve, he probably didn't know that we didn't have all the coin they have now. And, you know, again, being a little more gracious here than what I'm going to say in a minute. He probably got in and then figured out like, oh, wow, we actually don't have all this coin. And this is probably why we aren't actually getting an updated audit recently. Though, just from this article from The Rage, again, shouts out Low Elites, it is very interesting that they just like sent them to the IRS and all the institutions that are confiscating coin. And they're like, they'll know better than we will. We have literally no clue. So just like the story in itself is pretty insane when you kind of just think about it. It's like they should, I feel like they could have at least said something a little different versus like, yeah, go talk to these guys.
There was 2 typos in the response. And like when it says like, look, like send your request to 211 PO Box 621, like that's not going to be seen. No one's going to see that. There's no way no one's gonna see that. Dude, do you check the mail these days?
Yeah, but I don't have a PO box. I should get one.
But like, you know, there's email, right?
Yeah, but I get stuff in the mail from Amazon all the time.
No. But that's like a you order something.
No, I do. I check my mailbox, every other couple of weeks.
A letter.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
if someone sent you
I throw away most of the stuff that comes in my mailbox.
If someone sent you a letter, would you read it?
No one's sending me a letter.
But if someone sent you a letter, would you read it?
If I check my mailbox and there was a letter in there, then yeah, I'd probably read it. But I wouldn't be expecting someone to send me a letter. Anyway, let's not argue about mailboxes here, PO boxes. You know, Bitcoiners use PO boxes. Maybe they're Bitcoiners here. Maybe the treasury. All right. Anyways, I do feel like I need to acknowledge the very blatant attack from Nico on my my character. Nico's character assassinating me on the show today. I think the very end of this article is the crux of what the situation is. And it is if you are a single issue voter, then you should be putting their feet to the flame. And with that comes where Nico and I argue about this constantly. What is going on here? Me and Nico literally before the show, almost every single day, we have these same arguments on, you know, was voting for Trump the right move? Yeah. You know what? Who you're gonna vote for? That's why. That's why Nico's trolling me about about Biden.
We got Ross free, bro.
I get it. I look. That was awesome. What I'm saying, though, is what Lola Leach said at the end of this is like, it doesn't seem like they're that serious with the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, you can make all kinds of different speculations on why that reasons are. But my whole thing is essentially, look, I love Trump the man. I love the edits around Trump. The rhetoric is great. The push for Bitcoin is great. But when you really look into the stuff that they're doing, a lot of times it feels like vaporware. Like there's just hasn't been that much results. And again, I'm new to politics. I've only really started to pay attention since last year because they're coming out more pro Bitcoin. And maybe this is just, you know, how politics works. But personally, I want to see. I'm trying to see some action here, Nico. I want to hear more than just words, and that's usually where where we talk past each other. I'm like, dude, this is vaporware, Nico. And Nico does like, who you gonna vote? Like, would you have voted for Biden? I'm like, no, dude. I'm just saying, like, I want to believe that what he says is going to actually happen. Is that too much to ask?
I think progress in politics takes time, and I think expecting massive change, pivotal change in DC to happen from one administration to the other, I think is naive. I think this is going to be a multi-decade.
Feels right though.
I think that if the end goal, let's be very clear what the end goal is here. And I know I always get made fun of this in the chat, and they're like, Nico, have you ended the Fed yet? The end goal here is to end the Federal Reserve, right? Like, let's be very clear. Like, that's the political end goal. That should be the political end goal of Bitcoiners. The Bitcoin is not compatible with central banking. One side's gonna win, the other side's gonna lose. That's my opinion. You have the right to have your opinion. I just don't think they're compatible, the two. I don't think that right now you can't go from a country that has been a government and a country that has been addicted to being able to print money to the other extreme, which is a limited government constrained by its lack of ability to print money. You can't go from one extreme to the other extreme. Now this isn't like, this isn't uncalled for, right? In American history, there has been central banks in American history that have been ended by presidents. It just hasn't happened in a long time. And yeah, like this just doesn't happen from one day or the other. I'm looking at it as in, is the Overton window shifting? Is the culture shifting? And if the Overton window is shifting, which it has tremendously, and that's undeniable.
I'll
right?
give you that.
You have the president of the United States like tweeting from the White House X account, basically saying we want to make United States the Bitcoin capital of the world. From going to we want to ban Bitcoin a year prior, that's a tremendous amount of progress, right? But it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight because at the end of the day, like culture is downstream from politics. I mean, politics is downstream from culture, and we still have a long ways to go. Like this movement is going to take a long time, and it's going to take multiple administrations, and it's going to take people in Congress on both sides of the aisle that are pro Bitcoin. That's why we announced we were so excited. A lot of people are giving Dennis like a lot of crap for it, but that's why I was so excited when I saw that there was a Democrat candidate running on a Bitcoin platform in California. And now, does he have a chance to win? No, but the fact that there is one that's putting in the effort is fantastic, right? Yeah, like we need more Bitcoiners in government. If you have more Bitcoiners in government, by definition, government is going to change, but that's going to take a long time. Like most people are still, fiat minded. They still believe in the cult of fiat, as Ricardo Salinas, the billionaire from Mexico, says it, right? So yeah, I mean, to think that they were gonna do this massive change, like Trump's a 78-year-old man, bro. Like I don't think he knows. I don't think he understands what Bitcoin is, bro. Remember what he was saying in Nashville, dude? He was like, "Have fun with
your Bitcoins.
Have fun with your Bitcoins," right? Like I don't think he understands. I think he saw this correctly so as a political opportunity. He jumped on it. I think he kept a lot of his promises. He kept more of his promises that he broke. So I think expecting him to be, I'm not making excuses for it or anything, but like expecting it to be perfect, I think is incredibly naive. You make progress over time, right? Like imagine if you have a younger president, that is pro Bitcoin.
Barron Trump, pro Bitcoin candidacy.
He's
15 years. What's that? 2040.
He's gonna be dropping Pepe memes from his X account, bro. Like and the price of Bitcoin is gonna pump. But yeah, it's gonna take a long time. Like this is not like a yearly thing, right? Like this is not something that's gonna happen in a year. But we have made a lot of progress, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Is that we've made a ton of progress. We got Ross Ulbricht free, dude.
I'll agree with that.
Like, that's a huge win. Like, just that in and of itself is a big win, bro. My opinion, my humble opinion.
The next big win is them printing a shit ton of money.
To what? To pump the price?
To pump the price.
I mean, that's the only part of Trump's speech from Nashville 2024 that.
No, he also said don't sell your Bitcoins. He kind of hit some bars there.
Yeah, he said don't sell your Bitcoins, right? But the only part, and the vice president did speak in Vegas at 2025. So I mean, like the dude's like 80 years old and has a lot of I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, like this isn't his priority. Again, I'm not trying to make excuses, but you guys have to be
the priority is golf.
You guys have to
can't be mad at him.
You guys have to be like realistic with like, what is going to happen. Like, it's not just going to go from one day to the other. Like El Salvador is a completely different story. Like El Salvador, Nayib Bukele has a super majority in government. Number one. Number two, the dude's a lot younger. The dude's like, President Bukele is like in his late 30s, early 40s. So
all right, you changed my mind. Bo Hines, 2028.
The Bukele is 44 years old, man. Trump's literally double his age. So like, of course, like Bukele is going to be more open-minded, and I think when Bukele got into office, he was like literally in his late 30s. So
Bo Hines has my vote.
Yeah. So I think this is just going to be a multi-generational thing. America's a massive country. We have a lot of convincing to do. Like, we're the largest Bitcoin show on planet Earth, and our show's not that big, right? So we still got a lot of people to convince.
I do agree with your sentiment here. The important part of this conversation is every single one of us out here has to get as wealthy and influential as possible, and we're the next grassroots movement.
Yeah, I would say that. I would
Bars.
say we're the next Tea Party movement, bro. I really believe that in my heart. Anyways, I do have to kind of end this segment. Then we're gonna go to the culture segment. I do have a clip from Adam Back, which is pretty cool. Or should I save this for tomorrow? Let's check out Christine Lagarde.
Yeah, do the Chrissy one, and then we'll play that.
Many people are a little worried about what will happen to them with the digital euro. Can you encourage them? Why is the digital euro good for people like you and me?
A digital currency where it has been piloted, and there is only one which is clearly now launched in a very small country, but it is piloted on a fairly large scale in China, is of use and of service to all citizens. So it is not something that is good for the elite, or is good for the young, or is good for some versus others. If it is well done and if it is well implemented, it would be of service to all citizens.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, bitcoinben.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Ben's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank, and you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys, tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth, and join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinben.io, join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
Many people are a little worried about what will happen to them with the digital euro. Can you encourage them? Why is the digital euro good for people like you and me?
A digital currency where it has been piloted, and there is only one which is clearly now launched in a very small country, but it is piloted on a fairly large scale in China, is of use and of service to all citizens. So it is not something that is good for the elite, or is good for the young, or is good for some versus others. If it is well done and if it is well implemented, it would be of service to all citizens.
So, I mean,
Trash.
You must have really pissed her off. Taking example from a totalitarian country like China isn't a big win. But I mean, that's why, you know, someone in the chat is asking me, say the line, Bitcoin or slavery. Like, it's literally as simple as that. That's where the elites want to go, and they're using China as an example. By the way, like, if you take a look at the government of China and their history, and I'm talking about because it's a one-party system, the CCP, they do not have a good track record at all. Zero. It's a very, very bad track record in terms of human rights. You know, just take a look at the great Tiananmen Square and the great leap forward and all those things. And, you know, they're still in power today, right? And they don't really have a good track record. So again, taking like, you know, taking looking at China and saying, okay, this is the direction I want to go, is just like, it's like the opposite of it. It reminds me, I don't know if you guys have seen the UN speech that Trump dropped yesterday. He was just dropping bars the entire time. They like shut off the escalator. And
prompt.
They like shut off they shut off the escalator.
Oh, I didn't even watch it.
So like right when Trump was about to get on the escalator, they shut off the escalator. And then when he was like right to give the speech, they shut off the teleprompter, right? But he was just talking hella shiitake the entire time. He was like saying like, you know, things about the climate and the windmills and like everything that like, you know, has been accepted as gospel. Like Trump was just talking mad shiitake about all of that. And he was just dropping bars the entire time. And he was basically saying like, look, if you guys keep heading in this direction, it's going to be horrible for your countries. And this is the person who's the head of the European Central Bank, and she's looking at China as an example. Like, that is crazy. That is nuts. That is wild. That is terrible. That's so bad. It's so bad. It's someone in the chat and straight up. Yeah, called out. Yeah, exactly. Like, he was just dropping bars. I saw the whole speech because me and Opti were just getting sun yesterday. I heard the whole speech. It was like an hour long. I was entertained the entire time. Opti's like, yo, did he really say that? Like, like, it's hilarious. Like, he was so funny.
See, I like that Trump.
And yeah, like it was just hilarious overall. But look, taking example from the CCP on what you should do for your country is it's scary. It's scary. That's what I gotta say. Opti,
dude, I've been saying it for a minute. Europe is so cooked. Like what Nico said, I echo 100%. As the European Union and the ECB start losing more and more control over their citizenry, and of course, like the war going on between the U.S. economically and the European Union, as they start to lose, or rather continue to lose, their like economic prowess around the world, the one thing that they're doing is literally going all the way back to the sovereign individual. Is essentially, as they start losing more and more power, what do? They try to grasp for more power. And it's absolutely insane that they are saying that China is a good example of a CBDC, and then her framing, oh, this is going to be good for all citizens. And it's like, hey, they're talking about programmable money here. Who are the ones that are programming the money? It's not, you know, the average citizen of Europe. It's the people in power. It is good for them. And we've been saying this for a while. The more they talk about this being good for, you know, for the good of the people or for your convenience, the more it's like you need to stay away from this as much as possible. You need to fight this as much as possible. We've seen, or this week, or end of last week, beginning of this week, this happened multiple times in multiple countries that didn't want a digital ID, that don't want a CBDC. And what do? They close down their bank accounts. Like, this is what's coming to every country in the world if we aren't actively fighting for our personal freedoms to transact with who we want, with what we want. This is why we're Bitcoiners. But yeah, Europe is so cooked. I feel bad for my European brethren over there.
And they literally shut off the escalator and they turned off Trump's teleprompter, trolling him.
Yeah, UN's cut.
While he was like flat out calling them out.
You have to end it now. Sid, I can tell you, I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration.
Yeah, I agree with that. Hey, if Trump can say it, I can too.
You have to end it now. Sid, I can tell you, I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell.
Dude, Europe's cooked, man.
Oh,
feel bad for the people out there because they're scrambling for control.
Yeah, no wonder they turned off the escalator, bro. This guy's just dropping bombs, bro. Anyways, guys, Bitcoin or slavery, Bitcoin or central bank digital currencies. That's the future. You're gonna have to pick on which side.
What do you say? Bitcoin or slavery is not hyperbolic.
It's not
anymore.
a hyperbolic statement at all. I mean, you hear Chrissy, you hear Trump, you hear what's going on.
You hear that sweet pillow talk from Chrissy.
Anyways, guys, this was September 24th, 2025. This was SB Live. I'm your host, Nico, by their co-host, Optimus Fields. If you guys enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button, consider subscribing, and we'll be back tomorrow for a brand new episode. Take care, everybody.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.